As annoying as they are, flight delays barely show on the traveler's radar scope compared to the threat of a crash, especially one like TWA Flight 800 in 1996, which no amount of good piloting could have prevented. The investigation of the disaster is now complete, and CBS News correspondent Bob Orr has our report.
4 years after TWA Flight 800 exploded and plunged into the Atlantic, federal investigators are ready to make their case as to what brought down the Boeing 747 and the 230 people on board. Investigators say the evidence confirms what they've long suspected. The jumbo jet was blown apart in flight by a catastrophic explosion of the plane's center fuel tank. Sources say the final report, to be adopted Wednesday, will conclude the fuel tank explosion was touched off by a spark of unknown origin, likely from an electrical short in the plane's wiring. And the report will officially rule out any chance that the jet was brought down by a missile or a bomb.
Physical evidence doesn't lie.
Peter Goltz, who helped oversee the most expensive and far-reaching investigation in U.S. aviation history, says at first crash experts did suspect sabotage.
We all believed that the most likely explanation was a criminal explanation, but the evidence led us away from that. There was no evidence to support that.
95% of the shattered jet has been recovered, more than 100,000 pieces. Investigators have rebuilt the fuselage around the center fuel tank, and they've checked miles of the plane's wiring. Still, they've not isolated the precise spot where the fatal spark originated. Investigators think they know how the spark found its way into the plane's fuel tank. They believe a charge from a high-voltage wire jumped onto an adjacent low-voltage wire, leading to a fuel measuring device inside the tank. The spark, they say, then could have traveled down the low-voltage wire into the tank, touching off explosive vapors. Even though investigators can't prove that part of their theory, wires on Boeing 747s are now shielded. That's just one of more than 4 dozen changes ordered for jumbo jets since the crash. Actions by the FAA and Boeing to greatly reduce the risk that a catastrophic fuel tank explosion could ever happen again. Bob Orr, CBS News, Washington.